All right, folks, you're watching the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, and we're still doing more live Q&A. So again, use hashtag Cowboys in the comments section to have your questions featured. Producer Brett going to bring them up on screen here. From Rage Mods, he asks, Josh Oliver, asking about tight ends here in the draft, Dawson Knox, Jay Sternberger, or Caden Smith. I think I'm going to go with Jay Sternberger. Now, I worry about him blocking, which doesn't fit the Cowboys' MO, but that's kind of true for the other guys for the most part on that list as well. For me, I like the upside there for Sternberger. I don't think he's a Cowboys fit per se, but that's the route I would go. I think he's going to come in higher on my board than Caden Smith, Dawson Knox, or Josh Oliver. I will, though, throw out a fifth option. Isaac Nauta out of Georgia fits the Cowboys' MO a little bit better. Tim Sykes asks, why not move LaEl Collins? Why would you? Remember, I feel like we've totally built up this fake narrative about LaEl Collins being an elite guard. The last time LaEl Collins played at guard, he lost his job to Ron Leary. Injuries were a factor there, sure, but he lost his job. I believe the single biggest thing this offensive line needs right now is consistency. We've changed 3 offensive line coaches in the past 2 years, if you include the current one in Mark Colombo. One of which changed the hand movement and hand placement for the offensive linemen. Connor Williams moved from left tackle to left guard. Now you want to move him again? Oh, you're repeating the exact same mistake you made with LaEl Collins of moving him all around, never getting him steady. Keep Collins at right tackle. The past 2 years, we've seen Collins improve his play at the end of the year because he had consistency. Stop making changes. Keep Collins at right tackle. Keep Siegel at left guard. And reevaluate after the year. Focus on getting some stability there, and I think your offensive line will reap the benefits next season. William Pete, will the Cowboys go after Adrian Amos? I think they'll have some interest there. It kind of depends on the market. If it's too pricey, if it gets into the 8, 9, 10, maybe more $9-10 million range, I don't think they would. I think he'd be a good fit alongside Xavier Woods, but I think for starters, they're aiming for more of a Earl Thomas type guy. Super chat coming in from Jeremy Bramlett. Thank you very much. Should we go all out to make a run this year? I'm open to that idea. The Rams did it this past season. I don't think the Cowboys will. I think they're going to try and keep more of a long-term window open. But if the Cowboys were to sit down and say, you know what, we're going to go all out. We're going to wait on a Dak extension. We're going to wait on Byron Jones and Amari Cooper. We're going to spend our cap space to bring in Earl Thomas and Gerald McCoy and go get a receiver early. I'd like that idea. I don't think they will, though, but I do like the idea of going all out right now, taking your shot while you still have Dak Prescott on the world's best contract for quarterbacks. From Rory, what would you like the Cowboys to do with Sean Lee? Possibly to keep him at a good price intrigues him, but there are other people to re-sign if money is short. For me, the ideal scenario, pay cut. I love Sean Lee. I think you guys know this by now. Get him down to like $4 million. Will he take that? Maybe $5 million? Get him to take the pay cut. Keep your linebacker depth in better shape and still benefit from him teaching Sean Lee and Jalen Smith. Some more questions here coming in from Nathan James Hightower. Why is nobody talking about getting a good quality backup running back for you to get a breather every now and then? Nathan, I don't think you subscribe. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. We've mentioned this before. It's one of our team needs for the Dallas Cowboys. They need another running back. I would look round 4, round 5, bring in somebody that can indeed give Zeke a breather every now and again. It's not one of their top needs, but it is a need. And when we get to the draft, it might be inside their top 5, depending if they tag or extend DeMarcus Lawrence and do something better about the safety position. So I like the idea of bringing in a running back help. Jesse asks, which veteran quarterback could we sign? Teddy Bridgewater, Nick Foles, Case Keenum. None of them. Next question. Davidus Nelson, do you think Moore will let Dak throw down the field more? I hope so, actually. I want to see a more open passing attack. I'm not saying abandon the run altogether, but run the play action more. Use some of the pass to open up the run. I think that's a better idea there. Caleb Costello says apparently Anderson had discussions with the Cowboys. Do you think it's a good idea? Well, he can't have discussions right now. He's under contract. That's tampering. In terms of the fit, sure, maybe. Donovan Jackson, what changes do you expect or hope to see with Moore's offensive scheme? A couple quick things I'll break down. More play action. Cowboys should lead the NFL in play action snaps run. It just makes too much sense there. More motion pre-snap. Get to the line quicker. And don't run the ball on 4th and 1 with a loaded box with 3 tight ends. It's never going to work out. Zachary asks, will the Cowboys take a serious look at Jared Cook in free agency? I don't know if they will. I'm open to the idea of bringing in Jared Cook, but historically speaking, if you're looking for possible fluke guys, the old player who has a breakout year typically doesn't continue that pace. So from that perspective, I think that's the way to go for the Cowboys. I'm open to it, but I might look to the draft or a different option like a Tyler Eifert instead. David Hurst, why are people talking about giving Dak money and not just taking care of the GOAT Zeke? Thought we explained it pretty well. I guess we didn't. Quarterback is here on the importance level. And then running back's like down here. It is a lot harder to win when you have a running back instead of a quarterback. Zeke's great, don't get me wrong. But if I got to pay Dak Prescott or Zeke Elliott, I know you guys don't like it, I'm paying Dak. It is so much harder to find a top 20 quarterback than it is to find a top 10 back or a back that can produce well. I mean, look, Zeke's great and all. He didn't lead the NFL in the top 15 in terms of yards per attempt this year. And Aaron Jones and Gus Edwards were ahead of him. You can find backs. It's a lot harder to find a quarterback. I mean, unless you guys want to have the risk of going back to the Quincy Carter era. If that's your risk, okay, that's fine then. Some more mailbag questions here coming in from you guys. Again, make sure you're subscribed to youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. We mentioned this one from Zachary earlier here about Jared Cook, so we'll get to a different one here in just a second. From from Vincente, how much money do you think we will have left if we sign Tank, Dak, Zeke, and Amari? So you have the benefit of having like $90 million next year. So it depends on who else you keep. Do you keep Tyrone Crawford long term? Do you re-sign LaEl Collins? Let's say Tank comes in at like 20, Dak comes in at like 24 in reality, with his with his last year of his current deal. Let's say Zeke's 12, Amari's 17. You're going to have, let's say, $20 million left over, but a lot of that's going to go to your other key players. Jalen Smith, Randy Gregory, and others down the line. So you'll have money left, but not money to go get involved heavily in free agency. You got room for, I'd say, one guy if you want to focus on re-signing guys long-term too. Tech88, a super chat. Thank you, my man. Earl Thomas enrolled his kids in a school in Austin. Safe to say it's a done deal that ET is coming to the Cowboys with that family move. I wish it was, but it's not. Here's why. Austin is just as close to Dallas as it is to Houston. Earl Thomas went back home to Austin, Texas. He set up his home base there. So there's going to be a pursuit for sure, but just because he enrolled his kids in schools in Austin does not mean he is a done deal for the Cowboys. They're going to make a run at him, but by no means is it finalized. So, Tech, appreciate the super chat there. By the way, make sure you're subscribed. We broke down this rumor like a week and a half ago. youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. Tim Sykes, why are we talking about AB? Oh, thank you, first off. Thank you so much. When a low-cost Perryman or Kevin White with a tremendous amount of potential could improve the wide receiver core. Again, thank you for saying AB is not an option in reality. I don't actually mind the Perryman Kevin White idea. That is a low-risk, possible high-reward move. I don't think it would hit out, but I would much prefer that to throwing away money and picks on Antonio Brown. From Christopher Miller, should defensive tackle be the pick at number 58? If there's a good guy there, yes. Maybe a Gerald Willis, for example. It's a good defensive tackle class that wasn't as good as it could have been. A bunch of guys went back. Jeffrey Simmons got hurt. Guys like Raekwon Davis, Derek Brown went back to school. So I would consider it, but if I'm the Cowboys, I'm not locking myself into any one position. Instead, I'm going to see who is on the board around that point. Next up from Peter, did the Cowboys bring in Tyrann Mathieu or maybe more depth at safety? I think those are two separate questions because Mathieu, of course, is your starter. Depth at safety, meanwhile, one of those needs to happen. You either need to get a new starter to replace Jeff Heath or get some more depth to give you another number 3 or number 2 guy. You can't go into next year with the exact same safety core of Xavier Woods, Jeff Heath, Kevon Frazier that barely played, and then the scraps of Darian Thompson, who I once loved coming out of Boise State, Jameel Showers, or Tristan DeKalb. Go get a better safety there. Jimmy Turner, do you trade Zeke for a first? I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie. I love draft picks, so I'm highly tempted by that idea. But I probably wouldn't trade Zeke Elliott unless we got to the point where the Cowboys knew for sure they were not going to re-sign Zeke Elliott, which I don't think they're at that point. And I don't think they should be at that point. So for now, I say no, I'm not trading Zeke Elliott for a first-round pick. Caleb again, chances we get Dexter Lawrence. A chance. I don't know if it's a super high one. I think there's a chance he's on the board for the Cowboys in round 2. A semi-small chance. The big problem is Dallas doesn't like fat guys. They don't value that one technique role. They don't want the fat guy touchdown possibility. They would rather go super cheap at the one technique position. Therefore, I don't think Lawrence will be high on their board. David asked if the Cowboys will pursue any wide receivers from the AAF. It would not surprise me. One guy who's played very well so far for the AAF is LaEl McKay, who was on the Cowboys roster. So from that perspective, I could see having some interest there when it comes to it. But again, the AAF guys are going to be guys that maybe become your number 5 receiver. They're not going to be your number 3 or your number 4. They're just not good enough. Stephen Darrington, what do you think of a Buckeye backfield with Carlos Hyde and Zeke? Well, the Jags are going to cut Carlos Hyde. I don't hate it. I don't think he should be a high priority. He doesn't bring the passing ability that I like. I'd prefer TJ Yeldon, but I wouldn't hate it necessarily either. William Pate, could Irv Smith fall to us in round 2? I don't think so. I think he goes off the board in the top 40 picks. I like him a lot, but I don't think he's there in round 2. David Couch, maybe he's watching from his couch. Do you think if we keep the same team that we can win the Super Bowl in 2 years? You have to get better. Now, sometimes that includes growth from your current players, but the Cowboys have holes on their roster. They have to get better. So if they make no moves, it's just the same roster, but they're all 2 years older, I don't think it ends up working. Of course, that's why you have draft picks and free agency. Dallas Barnes, do you think Anthony Brown locked in his starting spot over Jordan Lewis after last year's play? I do think so. I think that Anthony Brown, I would have started Jordan Lewis. I probably still would start Jordan Lewis. But Chris Richard likes Anthony Brown more. I think he's your starter in that nickel cornerback role. Some more questions are coming in on our live Q&A from Brian Big Fun Danner. Why don't we pick more NFL-ready guys like from Clemson or Alabama? It's not that simple, guys. You can't just pick Bama, pick Clemson players. They bust too. Trent Richardson went to Alabama. So, yes, and the Cowboys really have drafted these types of players before. There's no such thing really as NFL ready. You can be more NFL ready, which I think maybe is what you're going for there. But you're not just going to pick a guy up and plop him in. They took Bo Scarborough. Didn't make the roster. It's just not that simple, unfortunately. From H. Thomas Urian, can Kitna help with Dak Prescott's accuracy? I certainly hope so. Kitna has emphasized the footwork, which is the big thing for Dak Prescott. The best thing Kitna can do, of course, is to make Dak a little bit more accurate. I think in the end, he will end up going that route. I think you'll see Dak be more accurate. The problem with Dak, he misses ugly. That's the big thing there. So I think in the end, they'll end up being okay. Connor Chadwell, can the Cowboys get Paris Campbell or KJ Hill in the draft to add more wide receiver threats? Well, they're not going to get KJ Hill. He's gone back to Ohio State. As for Paris Campbell, maybe. I think that's an option there for the Cowboys. I don't know if he's going to fall, though, to round 2. Hey, Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.